If you are absent today, this is a video that will help kind of catch you up so that you're ready to go next time you're in math class with us. We're going to be on page 16 of the Unit 5 packet, the one with the ice cream cone on the front. And we're going to be doing a couple different things today. First thing we're going to do is what's called evaluate multi-step expressions. Kind of what we did, what you did remotely previously. We're going to take an expression here. We're going to substitute the variable and then find the value of the expression. The only difference between this and what we did previously was that there are more steps, a couple different, 2 or 3 steps that we'd have to take to evaluate these expressions. We're also going to learn how to write an expression using a variable, but we'll start with these first. So to evaluate any expression, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write it out. Now this says 5t plus 4. When you have a number and a variable together, that's multiply. That means to multiply. So when I rewrite this, I'm actually going to put a dot in between the 5 and the t, making sure the t doesn't look too much like the addition sign, because I just want to remember that I need to multiply these numbers and not just put them next to each other. So in this case, t is 11. So the next step is to, instead of write t, I'm going to write the number 11. 5 times 11 plus 4. Now, when we think about order of operations, there's no parentheses, there's no exponents, but there is multiplication. And multiplication would come before addition. So we're going to do the multiplication first. 5 times 11 is 55. Plus 4, I'm going to put some equal signs in there, plus 4 is 59. So we just evaluated the expression. We found the value of it if the variable t was 11. All right, let's try this one. This one can be a little bit tricky, because what you have here is a number next to a variable with an exponent. So there's 2 different things we have to do here. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the expression. So this means like 4 times x squared. So I'm going to write that out using a dot. 4 times x squared. Now in this case, x is going to be 3. So in my next step, wherever I see an x, I'm going to put a 3 instead. But I'm going to make sure to keep the exponent. So what we have here is 4 times 3 squared. The next thing I'm going to do is kind of go through the cheer. There's no parentheses, powers and roots. Well, there is a power. There is an exponent. So I'm going to do this first. I'm going to squiggle the 3 squared. Now 3 squared means 3 times 3, which is 9. So this would be 4 times 9. Now I'll just do the multiplication. 4 times 9 would be 36. So again, the only difference between this and what we've done previously is we're now doing 2 steps in the expression instead of just 1. All right, the last one here in this row, we have 10 times a plus 7. So I'm going to rewrite the expression, making sure to put a dot in between the 10 and the a because that's multiplying. We've got to remember that's multiplication, plus 7. Now in this case, a is 1/5. A is 1/5. So we're going to do 10 times 1/5 plus 7. Now we have to do order of operations. There's no parentheses, there's no powers and roots. Multiplication and division, so we're going to do the multiplication first. Now when I multiply this fraction, I'm going to make 10 a fraction as well, because you can multiply a whole number by a fraction, but it's a lot easier to look at when you have 2 fractions like that. So I'm going to multiply first. But here's the thing. If you look carefully at this, if you look diagonally, when you multiply fractions, you can always simplify. Well, you can simplify if you can. You can't always simplify, but we're going to check for simplifying. 10 and 5, we can divide them both by 5. 10 divided by 5 is 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. And then we'll multiply. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 1 is 1 plus 7. Now, at this stage here, we can't really add these together because that's a fraction, that's a whole number. So we're going to change this to a whole number. 2 divided by 1 is 2, plus 7 is 9. So again, that one was a little tricky because you had a fraction in there. But the same rules that we've been working with all year with fractions apply here as well. So you can look for simplifying, and then we would change that into a whole number in this case, or even a mixed number if it was like something like 5/2 or something like that, or 5/3. But we got a whole number here, which is nice. All right, so at this point, we're going to try a couple more of these. If you want to try some of these on your own, or if you want to kind of do them ahead of me while I'm working, you can. And then check your answers against mine if you decide to do some of these on your own. So 2 times d minus 5, I'm going to write that out with a dot. Now, above here, this is where we're going to find the values of these numbers. D is 12, G is 2, E is 4. So in these 6 problems, anytime we see D, G, or E, that's the value of those variables. So my next step here is to write 2 times D is going to be 12. So instead of D, we're going to put 12 minus 5. We'll do the cheer, parentheses, no, powers and roots, no. Multiplication and division, that comes first before subtraction. 2 times 12 would be 24. Bring down the minus 5. And then we just have to do 24 minus 5, which is 19. Nice. All right. Let's try this next one here. We got D here again, so D is still going to be 12 for this problem. Next, first step, I'm going to rewrite it. 50 minus 3 times D, or 3D, 3 times D. All right, 50 minus 3 times D is 12. So I'm going to put 12. All right, parentheses, no. Powers and roots, no. Multiplication and division, yeah, we got that first. We're going to do that first. Comes before subtraction. 3 times 12 would be 36. And then we'd subtract these. 50 minus 36 would be, if you didn't know it, you could always do it off to the side, but it would be 14. All right, so now this one's a little trickier. This one's a little trickier because it's got an exponent in it. Well, I forgot to circle the answer. However, we're going to kind of follow the same steps we've been taking. This is 9 times e squared. 9 times e squared. So I'm going to write that as 9 times e to the second power, or e squared. Now in this case, e is 4. If I can see that right here. E equals 4. So I'm going to do 9 times e is 4. Keep the exponent there. 4 squared. Parentheses, nope. Powers and roots, yep, we're going to do those first. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. 9 times 16. Now this one I might have to do off to the side, which is okay. 9 times 16 is the only thing left to do. I'm going to put 16 on top, times 9. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 5 is 14. So the answer to this one is 144. All right. Let's try the next row down here. Similar idea, just different numbers. So this time we have 2 variables, 5 times d minus 15 times e. First step, of course, we're going to rewrite it using dots. All right, the d is 12 and the e is 4. So 5 times d is 12 minus 15 times e, and e is 4. All right, no parentheses, no powers and roots. Multiplication from left to right, multiplication and division. There's multiplication here. We're going to do that first. 5 times 12 would be 60 minus 15 times 4. So again, we're going to do the multiplication first before subtraction. Now, 15 times 4, 15 times 2 is 30. So 15 times 4 would be double that, which would be 60 as well. So this is 60 minus 60, which would be 0. That happens. So we got 0 for that one, which is fine. No worries. That happens sometimes. Didn't expect that, though. All right, here we go. We got 7 times g to the third power, or g cubed, plus 6. First step, of course. We're going to rewrite it. So 7 times g cubed plus 6. All right, let's check out G. What's G? Because we haven't seen G yet. G would be 2. So whenever we see G, we're going to put a 2 for this particular problem. 7 times 2 cubed plus 6. Now, there's a couple different things we might have to do here. All right, what's the first thing? Parentheses, no parentheses. Powers and roots, we're going to do the powers first. 2 cubed, that means 2 times 2 times 2. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So it's going to be 7 times 8 plus 6. Next, multiplication would come before addition. We're going to do the multiplication first. 7 times 8 is 56 plus 6. Put equal signs here. And 56 plus 6, to wrap it up, would be 62. All right, last one on the page here. We got 3 times e squared plus 4 times e plus 3. So first step, you know it. It's rewrite it. It's rewrite it. So 3 times e squared plus 4 times e plus 3. All right, so e is 4. So whenever we see e, even if we see it twice, we're going to put 4 every time we see e for these problems. 3 times e is going to be 4, keep the exponent, plus 4 times 4 plus 3. Now we just do order of operations. Do the cheer, parentheses. Nope, powers and roots. Yep. 4 squared means 4 times 4, which is 16. So we have 3 times 16 plus 4 times 4 plus 3. Go back to the start. Parentheses. No. Powers and roots. No. Multiplication and division from left to right. We're going to start here. Start from the left. Might have to do that off to the side. 16 times 3. Oh, the lights went out. 16 times 3. I got 48. Let's turn the light back on. Okie dokes. Okie dokie. All right, so we got 48 plus 4 times 4. We're just going to do this one step at a time, just like we normally do. Parentheses, no. Powers and roots, no. Multiplication, yes. It's the only multiplication left. 4 times 4 is 16, of course. Bring everything else down. Then we just got to do some adding. I'm running out of room here, so I'm just going to kind of go right through this problem here. We'll do this left to right first. So 48 plus 16. 48 plus 16 would be 64 plus 3. This was a doozy. 67. Now this one's the last one here is a challenge. You don't have to do that one. You wouldn't have enough room to do it on this piece of paper, so it says to do it in your journal. What it is it's m times a times t times h minus, in parentheses, m plus a plus t times h. So that one's quite a challenge. That's why it's called a challenge. But this last one here, this was a good one. Again, you just want to do one thing at a time. You don't want to try to skip steps and try to do more than one.